Good morning. I didn't realize you guys were watching me decorate my desk.
Good morning.
How are you? Nice to see you face to face.
Yes, most
Yes,
definitely.
yes. Thank you guys for I ended my meeting early, and so I was reworking the little pearls on my Christmas tree there on top of my snowman head.
Aw,
I kept turning back, and it's like then all of a sudden, man, there's three of you here. So I'm so grateful, so grateful. So welcome to 2021. Right, you guys having a good start to your year?
I am.
Good, good. I like hearing that. Who else do we have? Is it Lakeisha?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you,
Good
girl?
morning. I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good. And we have Emilio also.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I had an office meeting this morning that it's so hard to schedule around those. So I appreciate your patience. I think that we will have plenty of time to kind of go through a buyer's presentation. So I'm going to share with you kind of what I do. I know that we all have different learning styles. And so one for me is I like to see how somebody else does something so that you can either emulate what they're doing, or you can say, oh, I don't know, that's not really my style, but I've seen how somebody else does it. And then I'm going to make it and take it and, make it to what I would do, what I'm comfortable with. So that will be our plan. So you guys are under the impression that this is working with buyers class today, correct? Awesome. And I know that Tammy and I have been talking. I know that she is so excited to kind of hit the ground running. And I'll tell you guys and I'll learn a little bit more about you here in just a moment. But if you are just getting your feet wet in real estate, coming to an understanding of working with buyers will be one of the fastest ways that you can get money in your pocket, as opposed to going out and building rapport and doing listings and things. I mean, that certainly that's another avenue that you'll be building your business and building your brand. But buyers can be a very quick, if you make a good connection at an open house, or you have somebody that the greater challenge is actually finding something for them to be able to get in contract with, that you're not fighting with 20 other homeowners or home buyers rather. It should be something that if you can get a contract accepted in this market, you could be receiving paycheck 30 to 45 days. Okay, so it could be a quick turn for you. So just so I know who my audience is, will you guys take just a moment, introduce yourself to me, tell me how long you've been licensed, maybe what your background is, like maybe if you've come from another career, what that looks like, and what are you hoping to get out of today's class today, so that I can make sure we're on target with that. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Awesome.
So I am a baby in the real estate field. I've only
Yay.
had my license. I got it December 5th. So everything is brand new for me. I'm actually in the medical field, been in the medical field for a long time. So I was looking to transition out of the hospital into something, one, more safe, and um, two, just something that I've always wanted to do. So I figured what better time than now during the quarantine, where I can get all of my education and everything and not be overly exposed to too many people, and just get it done while we're pretty much stationary at home.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the class, I don't know what I don't know. So since I have to know it all, I'm just trying to get everything.
Right. So you're a sponge. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So, Lakeisha, were you a nurse?
No, I am actually an inpatient pharmacy tech at the
Oh,
James. Yeah.
okay. Now, is your plan, are you going to continue doing that and do real estate as you kind of get because I would imagine, I mean, if you've been in the medical field a long time, you've got a good income and things like that that you may need.
Yes. So I actually am planning to do them both full time together and transition eventually once the real estate piece is stable enough financially that I can just go ahead and leave the medical field and just, run after the real estate thing by itself.
Excellent. I love that. And I want to encourage you, because you've been in that medical field for so long, you need to use that to your advantage. It can be a wonderful, wonderful networking opportunity for you. There's some very, very fine lines and things, and we can talk about that at another time, but use that history that you have at that workplace to build that, because here's the great thing about the industry that we're in. Everybody needs a place to live. Everybody
Right.
needs a place to lay their head. And so you get to educate them as to the benefit of owning real estate and things like that. So I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm so glad that you're a sponge, because we got lots of things that you can sop up today, girl.
Thank you.
All right. Who's going to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
For me, I will just give a little bit of my background of where I came from. Originally came from Florida. I've been up in Ohio for about a little over 3 years now. Went a little north and come down to Columbus about a year and a half ago. My employment background comes from business, investments, teaching, and nonprofit. So I've had my own businesses in construction, my own nonprofit organization. So like contracts and dealing with people and things like that, I've done that, but I've done that more on my own level and not a, how do you want to say, working for a realtor level. I took my real estate classes and everything in Florida, almost got licensed there, but then we moved to Ohio. And with that, I went ahead and pursued that here. I've been licensed since December. And so I'm kind of familiar with the process, but getting my hands on how it works in this type of environment and less of a investor side of it is kind of, what I'm wanting to get out of all of this. I'm in it full time. I'm ready. Excited. So.
Show me the money, right?
I love helping people. So that's, and animals and so forth. And that's more why I went into some of my teaching roles and my nonprofit roles and things like that, because I love interacting with people and helping them. So money's great. Don't get me wrong.
It helps. It helps. Let me tell you. Tammy, that's so exciting. And let me give you a little tip here. It does help that you like people. I mean, in the business that we're in, liking people is one of those things that should probably be at the top of the list. Tell me about your nonprofit. What avenue is that?
My nonprofit, I ended up shutting it down because it was in Florida. It was based out of Florida. But I started it off, it was a animal rescue organization. So it was more for starting out as a hobby of getting animals out of, kill shelters and things like that, and getting the network of people to volunteer for it, to help get them out, get them in a home, get them their necessary needs, and then find the appropriate home for them. And it took off, and it was very rewarding in so many ways for our community down in Jacksonville. And I'm ready to get my hands in that here in some way. I'm building my network in Columbus at this point of people and opportunities for volunteering and things like that.
Tammy, that is so fantastic. And the reason I ask you guys kind of these probing questions is because what you want to do is you really want to see if you can't figure out some kind of a niche, right? I'm going to tell you, Tammy, if I were you, there are several agents, and I've learned a lot of this through attending like Family Reunion, which is Keller Williams' big convention. And
Okay.
Typically we go places, there's usually 5 places that we would travel. Orlando is one, New Orleans, Dallas, Las Vegas, and Anaheim, California. Those are really the 5 places that they kind of to bounce around, but they do it annually. It's usually around Valentine's Day weekend. This is where you come to get to know a lot of other agents. I know that this year it's being done virtually. I don't know, have any of you signed up for Family Reunion this year?
I have not yet, but I definitely will check into it.
Yeah, check into it, because this is where it kind of opens up your mind, and you're going to get to meet other agents that are teachers that are teaching on stage and things, and you get to know. I know that there are other agents that have done the kind of the side that you're doing, the nonprofit, and in fact, she did an animal rescue, and she uses that to build her business, to build her brand, and it is just skyrocketed for her. So if that's where your love is, and that's what I say, whatever you love to do, create a way to make money doing what you love to do and sell real estate at the same time. Because like I said, everybody needs a place to lay their heads at night. So it's a great thing. So Tammy, I'm so excited for you. I think that that absolutely is something that you will be able to pick up here. My gosh, I know that there is a need for animal rescue all over the world. And so I'm excited to see what you're going to be able to do with that. So bravo, girl, bravo. Okay, Emilio, it's your turn.
Okay, so I got my license December 4th of 2020, so I'm relatively new as well. I graduated from Ohio University with a major in interior architecture in 2019, and I decided that I didn't really want to work for a commercial design company or residential design company. I kind of want to just go off and do my own thing. So I got my real estate license, and I'm looking to kind of buy and flip houses and see where that path takes me. But yeah, like the other two said, I'm really just looking to get as much information as I can from the people that have been in the industry much longer than I have. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see what I pick up today.
I mean, I think that that's so exciting. In fact, a lot of newer agents that I find, first of all, you guys are so young, number one. And I think that the business that is ahead of you and what this business can afford you, and the idea of flipping houses and investment properties and things like that, I think, gosh, if I could go back 25 years ago when I got my license, and somebody would have spoke a word into me about that. My husband and I have just said recently, it's like, why didn't we do that? Why did we not? And it's because I'm telling you, somebody didn't speak into me 25 years ago and said, hey, you really make this a goal, make this something that you do. So I'm so excited, because I know what this business can do for you, and the dreams that it can give you in that. So I'm so excited. I love it that you guys are all December licensees. So that's fabulous. You're kind of all in the same boat. And so what I'm going to do, let me tell you just a little bit about me, so you know who I am. And I have to make a little disclosure as well. I've recently had surgery, and I'm very slow moving. I may seem like I have it all together sitting here in this chair, but I'm very slow moving. I also have my dogs that are crated just on the other side of my desk here. So if somebody walks by with a dog, or somebody happens to ring the doorbell, which seems to be happening a lot more lately, my dogs may go crazy, and you're going to see me go on mute as soon as I can get myself, or I may pause. That's why, because literally they're right there, and it's going to sound like they're bringing the house down. I'm telling you. They are Australian Shepherds. So I got one that she's just a little baby, and she's not grown a whole lot. In fact, we keep saying we got her a year ago yesterday, because it was my middle daughter, 17. She turned 17 yesterday, and that was her present. So we've had Luna Nova is her name. We've had her for just a year yesterday. And then Tucker we have received him like 4 years ago. So he's kind of the big burly. He's the one that thinks he runs the roost until she shows up. And then she's all it. But we have a great time with them. I have been married. It'll be 30 years this July. To my high school sweetheart. We've got 3 daughters, Daisy, Lily, and Lola. They're all avid softball players. So that is where you'll find me a lot of times, on the softball field in the summer. We travel all over. In fact, Tammy, we're trying to schedule, we're putting together a big trip next July in Florida. We'll be going to the Panhandle over at the Destin and Fort Walton area. So that's kind of been the buzz in our house, coming up with an Airbnb that we can stay at with a bunch of other families and go and spend a week at the beach and go play some ball. So that's
Softball. I had my 3 daughters softball. That's what they did. So
Yay.
Yep, I know.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I'll tell you, it keeps us busy. And let me say, you got to sell some houses to keep up with these kids and all the equipment that they need to do their little fun sport.
Is it travel ball that they do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. At a pretty good high level. I've got Lola is my baby. She's 15. Lily is 17 and Daisy is 19. Daisy kind of went out with everything. She ended up with 3 separate knee surgeries. And so her softball days are over, but we had such high hopes for her to go D1 and she got injured and it never came to pass. But Lily's a great utility player. She can play anywhere. And then Lola, she's the 15-year-old. She's always played up her whole career. She's playing 16U. She's a pitcher. So I keep saying to her, and I hope I don't speak into her incorrectly, but I say, girl, if any of the 3 girls really, really, truly had great, great high hopes to go D1 with her pitching, I'm hoping she's it. So I'm trying to live through my kids in that aspect, because I never played college level, but, and I'll just say, back in the day, we didn't play ball like these kids play ball today. I mean, it is a serious thing.
You're right.
They're afraid to play catch with me. They're like, Mom, we're going to hurt you. I'm like, I can catch the ball. Come on, So anyway, that is my life, my husband, my kids, my dog, and I sell real estate too. And so one of the outlets, I said to you guys about finding a niche, one of the outlets that I do, I love the teaching aspect. Not only do I do it from a real estate standpoint, but another thing that I really love to do is I love to lead women's groups for Bible study. And I love it. People have encouraged me in it. And so that's really where my niche is. I do a lot of networking that way. And as I was saying to you, Lakeisha, it's like, there's a very fine line when you're working with people and wanting to use them also and I don't say use them, but I mean, bringing that relationship piece together to where you can do business with them, because people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And if you're building those relationships and you're educating them, and that, that's what you have to sell is your service. So whatever your niche is, whether it's the flipping houses, the nonprofit, or you're working in a medical field, or whatever it is, or if there's something else that you really truly have a love in, figure out how to make that a networking opportunity for you. Because listen, like I said, people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so sometimes it's a lot easier to do that when you're rubbing elbows and things with people that are doing other things that you enjoy doing also. So just keep that in mind. I think that it'll take you a long way. Emilio, you could come up with, seminars that you could do about flipping homes, like teaching your friends, your family, your connections, however you build relationships. Think of putting on like a seminar to teach somebody how to flip houses, because it's kind of the rage right now and people are kind of looking for outlets. It's like, I want to do that. How do I do that? They say, and Tammy, you can probably chime in on this too, that if you want to master something, teach it, right? Teach
Correct.
Something that you want to learn how to do, because then you throw everything into figuring out how you can share that with other people. So that's the other thing that's so great about being at Keller Williams, is that you guys will have an opportunity to learn from so many different people. In fact, all this week, you're going to have all different instructors in the same time period, giving you different approaches, different perspectives. And so I say to you guys, as we were joking about you guys all being sponges, take this opportunity and get yourself onto the classes, even if it's something that you can only be for just a little bit. And if you take one little nugget from that and you're like, I really like that, I'm going to use it, then put that into your business, because of the intranet and how it is now, listen, it wasn't that way when I started. When I started selling real estate, I'm not kidding you. They used to deliver what's called, you guys know what the MLS is, the multiple listing service. This is how you learn about properties. But back in 1995, when I was licensed, every Friday they delivered what was called an MLS book. Do you guys know what phone books are? Sometimes you guys
Absolutely.
in this age group don't even know. People are like, phone books? I don't know. It was a very thick book that would have businesses and residents, people in homes, their telephone numbers. The MLS book was delivered like that every Friday. And that is how we learned that homes were on the market. Now think about the printing of that. Think about what would actually go into being able to print material like that several days. Think about our market today. You get a home that goes on the market, and in some cases in 30 minutes, 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, that house is already gone. So if you had to print it like that, I mean, the internet has just completely changed our business. I mean, just, and literally it seems like even now, sometimes it's changing overnight so quickly, but it's ever changing. And that again is another great reason why to be in this business, because it's different every single day, right? It's different. And so I say to you, be that sponge, get on the internet, sign up for classes. Listen, there are so many things that are free. There are so many platforms and things that you can get onto that they have teaching videos, whether it be through the multiple listing service, through your showing time of setting up. I'm assuming, have all of you had your appointments with Rachel and gotten everything set up to get your logins and all that?
Yes.
Emilio, you
Yes.
too?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. So that kind of opens that gateway, right? Of you being able to look at the MLS, to be able to go into view properties. There's just a ton of stuff. And again, you guys, this is why I do this, because I learn from you too. And I get excited as you've been in the business, long time, you kind of get set in your ways and you do things a certain way. But what's so great about it is that you get to meet new people and you hear what they're doing. It's like, gosh, I didn't even know that was out there. So then it has me go and looking at different things to do my business, or to change things up, or to keep it fresh, or to keep, so there is no lack of opportunity for learning. So use that to your benefit. Okay. And that's the thing too, that even though they have another buyer class, or they have another contract class, or there may be a different person teaching that class. So log on there and see and learn and take notes. And I want to caution you too, to say, don't feel like every class that you're taking that you have to you got to get it. You've got to get everything down. That's not it. I say to you, take a nugget or two from each, and then you're creating your own, right? Yeah. So, all right, so we've got a little bit of time here. I'm going to go through and share with you a little bit of what I do. We should have plenty of time to get through this and then have some questions at the end. I say this every time. I don't know when they will run out of this. I don't know if you guys are even paper people. I am. I like to have up above me, you guys can't see this, but I have notebooks. I have notebooks on every listing that I have, every buyer that I'm working with. This is a way for me to keep track of that. You also can do it electronically. But I also keep notebooks for the things that I'm doing. Like for this class here is the career development class. And so I have a notebook. Pam Johnson at the front desk, Pamela, if you guys met Pamela, she has some of these notebooks available. I will tell you that some of the information's like, they're always updating documents and things like that. She has some of these available. So when you go into the office the next time, stop and ask Pam if she has this. They have some boxes in one of the back rooms, I'm sure, rather than them just throwing those things away with that outdated material, you can go in and print a new 2020 real estate contract and put it in here. Okay. Some of this information is never going to be obsolete, meaning you're always going to want to talk about yourself at some point during your buyer consultation. And so it just gives you some things in there. You're going to talk about their home search. So that stuff is stuff that's not going to die, right? So I don't know when those books will run out, but the next time you're in there, ask her about the career development book, because we used to do these classes in person in a classroom setting, and we passed out these notebooks. Also, Ignite is another one of those notebooks that they had printed out. So ask her if she has those. Those things are just a wealth of information. If you're somebody that likes to flip through things, take notes and write on things, those will be great resources. Here's another thing that I'll tell you, and this is aside from all of that. One of the things that we've got going on right now, I'm sure you guys have heard of Command. And so one of the things that I do, because of course they're offering everything online, right? So you can go online and you can download any type of manual, anything like that. Okay, you'll be able to find all this stuff digitally. And if you listen, you guys are probably more well-versed digitally, and I know you can write on your screen and highlight and save and all that stuff. But if you like the paper, you can always take whatever you're doing, put it on a thumb drive, take it over to Staples, Home Office Max or something, and they will bind things for you. Right? I do this on all my stuff, all my Bible studies. I have them take the bindings off and put these bindings on them so that they're just easy. They're nice and workable manuals. This is the Command one that I just did. Tammy, one of these will be coming to you with working with a mentor. So I just like to have this stuff in writing. So I encourage you, whatever you need to do to get the information, do that. So with that, I always, when I'm meeting with a buyer, and I'm going to have a little bit of take on some of these things because I'm actually on a team. I am a team member with the Kathy Cairo Group. And so a lot of the things that I do are things that are put in place because I'm on a team. It doesn't mean that you as individual agents can't do things and create your own. Again, remember, you're getting ideas. You're these sponges taking in things as to how people do things differently. One of the things that I do is I have a buyer consultation. So I'm always bringing a client into the office, or I'm meeting them for coffee at Starbucks or Tim Hortons or McDonald's or wherever, even going to their home. Understand that piece of it has kind of changed a little bit of meeting people out in public, but I do still bring people into the office on a regular basis. And there's a couple different reasons why I do that. Number one, I do it to bring them into a professional place. I love our office, the leadership team with Mick and the Sullivans and their leadership and all of the support that we have. I love bringing them in. And in fact, this is your team. If you are an individual agent, you're bringing them into your office, even if you do not have an office there. I do not have an office there, but I bring them into the office. They don't know that. And you've got team members. Pamela at the front desk, that director of first impression, she is part of your team. And you sell it that way, right? Because if they're going to be dropping earnest money off to you when they write a purchase contract, they've already had the introduction of Pam. They know that she's there and that she would collect that from them. You can always call on any of the leadership there, but you make them part of your team. Also part of your team is going to be your lenders, your title people. So from the beginning, you're building this team from the ground up and you're selling yourself as team. Okay. Even if it's just you yourself, you've got people that are surrounding you. So you're bringing them into the office. So really, truly, you have control, right? You're bringing them onto your turf. I usually schedule the second conference room. I try not to do that first conference room because it's a big fishbowl. And I'm easily distracted. Honestly, that's why I don't set that front conference room up. Because everybody walking by, it's like, oh, I see, or somebody will wave and I feel like I have to wave to them. Nope. Put myself in the second, or we have a third conference room, or there's even other places throughout the office that you could do, but it's easy. And I love it there because you've got the big screen TVs that are on the wall, because I'm interactive with my people. I'm pulling up the MLS. I'm educating them about the market. I'm sharing with them the dot loop system. And I do this all within 60 to 90 minutes is from start to finish. Depending on how many questions. I have had appointments go 2 hours. I usually schedule it 2 hours out because I just don't know that. sometimes I meet them cold, have never met them before. And so I'm getting more information from them. One of the wonderful things that we have afforded to us as being on a team is we have what's called an ISA, an inside sales agent. He will call and answer and ask a lot of questions on the phone before that initial meeting. And in fact, he's even giving information about lenders that we have, saying, please get yourself connected with one of these people, call and have conversation. If you have the ability to get yourself pre-approved, it will only put this on a much faster track. And again, you'll have people that'll be on different, wavelengths of what their urgency is of finding homes. So it's nice if you have that. If you don't, you just make sure that you have a great questionnaire question that you can have a conversation with them on the telephone. Guys, here's what I'll say too. It seems to me like a lot of people are liking this interaction, this Zooming thing. Set up a Zoom call with them and have a face-to-face conversation and talk to them about that. The other reason I bring them into the office again is to set the expectations, because I've not had this. I really, maybe I can think of maybe one, maybe two over the course of my 25 years of being in the business that I've met with somebody and I've thought to myself, you know what? I don't think this is going to be a good match. I don't think realistic wise what they're looking for and how I can serve them is going to be a good fit. And I'll tell you, I love saying that in the meeting, because when you're meeting with them and you're giving them all this information, really, truly, the goal is for them to be sitting in that conference room. By the time you get done educating them about the market, and especially the market today and how fast paced it is, you want them starting to feel like, oh my gosh, we can't buy a house without her or without him. We need her. We need her. I tell a quick story. I had a couple that came in, and they had been meeting with other people, and they had called on a listing and they had not signed anything. And we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because that's the other reason why you want to get them into the office, is you want to get them committed to you if you decide that you want to work with them and they want to work with you. But I had a couple, young couple, sweet couple. They had been meeting with other people and other agents. They'd seen some homes, and they had called on a listing that I had out in the New Albany area. It was a little condo. And they were telling me, sharing with me about their experience, and that they had made an appointment to go see a particular property over in the New Albany area, where they've got all those lifestyle communities. And it just so happened that I had shown that condo. And I shared with them, I said, oh gosh, I said, just with knowing you guys, just a little bit that I have, that condo is located right there on that busy street. You've got everybody coming in and out of the community. The home itself has got some nice things, but the quality of those updates are not probably with what you're sharing with me. They just couldn't believe that I had already shown that condo. Now that could have been a coinky dink, right? I mean, it was just the setting was just absolutely perfect, but that I was able to educate them about the busyness of the street that it was on, and I'll tell you guys too, that comes from living in Columbus all of my adult life, right? I knew exactly where it was. They'd give me that information, did a little bit of research before, knew where they were coming from. So I used that to my advantage. He had said to me in setting up that meeting, he's like, I said, I'd really love to work with you guys, brought them in, met with them, fell in love with them the moment I saw it. And actually the time that I met with him, it was like they had closed down all of the schools and everything. This was a couple years ago because it was so cold outside. And he was a teacher. And so he works at college level. And he didn't have school. And so he'd said to me, hey, I don't have school. Can I meet? I said, absolutely. What time you guys want to be there? I think that they were surprised by that too, because sometimes in this business, you'll get people that'll be like, oh, I don't know. It's kind of cold outside and they've shut everything down. If you're willing to show up, sometimes that's all that it takes, right? If you're willing to make them a priority. And that's what you're trying to convey in this meeting, is that look, if I can service you in the real estate needs that you need, then let's make this a good match. he was really, prior to getting there to the appointment, he was like non-committal. He's like, look, I've got an appointment to go look at another home. They told me that first thing when we walked in the door. And halfway through the meeting, he like pushed himself back from the table, and we actually were in the front conference room, which is why I remember those times when I meet with people there. But he pushed himself back, and he went like this, and he turned to his wife and he said, I don't know about you, but I want to cancel that appointment with that other agent, and I want Jill to show us that property. And I said, well, we can do that. I said, I'd be happy to call that agent and we can do that. And again, the only reason I was willing to do that is because they had not signed anything commitment wise with another agent. If you come across a buyer that has already made a commitment by signing a document with somebody else, they are hands off, guys. There is that ethical line that we cannot cross. Okay. And so that's part of that. So again, the whole point of you bringing them in and meeting with them is to build rapport, to be face to face. And it is true that you can do that over Zoom. You can do that. You can create that. And that's what has changed in our world, in our business these last 11 months. Is that people are open to Zooming, and sometimes it's more convenient. I shared with you guys that I do a lot of teaching from a biblical perspective in women's groups. Look, I got a group that we meet on Wednesday night. There's 45 women in that group, and they love it because we can all be in the comfort of our own homes, and we log on and we're there for an hour and 15 minutes, and we cry and we pray and we do, but we get to do that together each week. I don't know that the attendance would be as great if we were all driving someplace and had to deal with the elements outside. So use this to your advantage, right? Use it. So if you've got somebody that wants to do it over the phone or via Zoom or meet in person, you be ready to do whatever they need to do. And like I said, you're going to be using those things in the office. You've got the copier there you can use. You can give them copies of everything that they're looking at and signing. In fact, you'll want to have a little packet of information brought up, things that you're going to be giving them that they're walking out the door with. One of the things that you'll want to provide them with is a copy of the real estate purchase contract. And I will tell you all, as being newly licensed since December, you all need to know that real estate purchase contract. Make sure that you have the most updated copy available, which is 2020. I think it's April 1st of 2020 is the date on that contract. You guys, I think a great assignment for you at this point is to read that purchase contract every day for the next 30 days. Just say, I'm going to read through that. It's 13 pages. It's an easy read. The things that you don't have, the things that you do have questions on, highlight that, have that conversation with your mentor, talk about those things. You need to be able that filling out those real estate purchase contracts is how you get paid. So you need to know the ins and out, forward, backward, upside down, diagonal way of explaining that document. So you need to be looking at that every day. Yes, I can, that document will be, you guys can go to the intranet. There's documents there. Or have you guys had any understanding of .loop yet? Because that's where documents are and commands.
Yes.
And listen, too, I'd be happy to forward things. Your mentor, have you guys hooked up? I know Tammy has. Lakeisha, have you or Emilio, have you guys hooked up with a mentor yet?
Yes.
Okay. Who are you working with, Lakeisha?
Karen Dallas.
Oh, I love Karen Dallas. She's one of my favorite people. Karen and I go way back, way back. We've known each other for 20 plus years. Emilio, who are you working with? Maybe he stepped away for a minute, but yes, girls, you use your mentor. That's what they're there for. If you can't get on right now, get a copy of that real estate purchase contract. And if you're struggling with that and your mentor can't get it to you, which they should be able to email that to you. Go walk into the office and tell one of your team members, one of your supports there, can you get me a copy of the real estate purchase contract? Practice this, highlight this, ask questions about it, go to the contract classes that Mark Sullivan does all the time. What he usually will do is he'll spend more time on specific parts of that. So you got to know it inside and out, because I take that opportunity in that buyer orientation to go through that real estate purchase contract, because those are the kind of questions that we need answers to in order to fill them out for the clients that we're working for. If they have an understanding, and let me tell you, here's what's going to set you apart from other people too. Not everybody takes the time to educate their clients on that real estate purchase contract. Once they have that knowledge of what it is, it makes sense to them. So use that to your advantage. Know that. So you're bringing them in, and I'm going to tell you, the first part of it is really just the rapport piece where you're getting to know them. Find out that they love animals. Find out that they have 3 kids. Find out that their kids play softball. Find out that, oh my gosh, they work in the medical field. Oh my gosh, they have a desire and dream to have investment properties. Find those things out, because listen, they're going to be in your sphere. We call it your sphere of influence. For the rest of your business life. So getting to know these things and noting these. When did they get married? What are their dreams? Now again, it doesn't mean that you're finding all these things out at this one meeting, right? As you guys go through classes, there are things that will help us do this when you have conversation with your clients many times over the course of the year. A great word to use to help us with this is FORD, F-O-R-D. This is where you talk to them about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. And so it's a wonderful thing just to have, posted up so that when you're talking to someone, it draws you back to a question that you can ask them. The greatest thing you can do is ask questions and then listen for the answers, right? So that's what you're doing. You're going to talk to them about what they're looking for in a home. So this really is the search, the home search, and what that looks like. You're asking them the questions about their lifestyle. What's important to them? Are they a family that's out every weekend at softball fields with their family, and so therefore cutting grass and home maintenance is not top of their list? I mean, maybe then that goes to, they want to live in more of a condo type situation. So again, questions that you can ask them to get to the bottom line is what you want to do. So their home wish list, what style of home do they want to be in, and things like that. Neighborhood dreams, what does that look like? Do they want to be in a community where the community is active, or are they more rural? Do they want to be out where they can't see their neighbors? I mean, these are all important things that you need to find out, right? Another important piece of this is to share with them what the home buying process looks like. So you can get on and you can get a flow chart of the home buying process. And that's where you're going to determine, obviously, the first thing that they want to do is to select a great real estate agent. And that should be you, right? They're going to obtain their financing pre-approval. And again, sometimes these things, depending on how you educate them, can come before another. They're going to analyze the needs in this buyer's consultation. So again, you may have sent them information about their financing before that actual consultation. If not, you do it at that time, and then you share with them a list of lenders, which is part of this building your team. As you guys are new in this and newly licensed since December, one of the things that you can be working on right now is building your relationships with lenders and title people. These are people that can service you. They are people that can provide documentation, pamphlets, brochures, anything that you can give to a buyer that is letting them know that you're giving them information, you're educating them, you're bringing them along. And a lot of lenders that you can work with will provide you that stuff. Having a great relationship with a lender is so very important. So be working on that. We have a great lender that we work with in our office, Rapid Mortgage. Mark Janes does a lot of support to us agents. He will sponsor so many things. We will have during our office meetings and things, they will bring people into support us, to sponsor. Again, prior to COVID, they would bring lunch into us, and it was just a great opportunity to build relationship with people in the businesses that are going to support your business, the lenders, the title companies, the home warranty companies, handymen, mold mitigators, roofing people, house cleaners, anything like that. These are people that you want to start building your database with, so that when somebody calls, I just had a gal this morning call me and say, hey, do you know any CPAs? I said, as a matter of fact, I do. I have 2. Let me send you some information. And so again, you want to be the source that people are coming to, so you build that. There's a couple of different ways that you'll be doing this too over the course. Tammy and I have talked about this. Bold is a wonderful way to kind of really get your feet wet. It'll help you build that database. It will give you a list. I think there's like a list of 185 different types of contacts that you can have, that it's like, listen, being in the business 25 years, I've looked down and it's like, gosh, I never thought about putting them on my list, right? So if you're struggling with coming up with more than your, immediate family and your friends and that, and you say to yourself, okay, well, I've got, 75 people, or hey, start at Facebook. Are you guys Facebook people? Are you guys, is that too old for you guys? Yeah.
I'm on there. It's a struggle.
Yeah, it is. And listen, I'm going to tell you that's one of my things for 2021. I am not big on social media. I'm just not. I could care less where you are and what you're eating for lunch. I don't care.
That is me. I'm the
Yeah.
same.
I just don't, but it's okay if I find out, if I know where you are and I can say I had it. In fact, look, maybe I can say that I use it for stalking purposes. I don't know, but a girlfriend of mine, she's become a very good friend of mine. I've sold her in and out of many homes. And she posted a video this morning. Now, I would never do this, but it works for her. She was in her garage and she was punching a punching bag. She was sweating her ass off. And I thought to myself, good for you, girl, but that is not me, right? But it gave me an insight into her life. And so I'm noting that. I'm taking record of that. And so I went back. Now I would do it with her. I wouldn't post it, but I would do it. And so I just simply sent her a little note and I said, hey, Jules, when I'm done healing, I'd love to join you. And so it was just a little connection with her, right? Those are the opportunities that you want to look for. So if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, if it's picking up the phone, whatever, those are the kind of contacts that you're going to be making to build that database. But you'll have opportunities like through Bold and things like that will help you to see the growth that you can do. In fact, when you guys are you guys in Ignite yet? Have you done Ignite? Okay. Ignite is an opportunity where it's kind of like a hands-on thing. And they have something called a 10-4 where you're working on you're adding 10 people to your database every day. Okay. And so the idea of this is fast, rapid building, and we all know we can't build relationships that quickly, but the contacts and the people that you can be communicating with, it's like getting that phone book out, right? And it's saying, what would be a good person? Do I have an accountant that I work with? If you don't, you need to. Do I have somebody that cuts my hair? Do I have somebody, what about attorneys? Do I have a divorce attorney? Do I have a civil attorney? Those kind of things. I mean, that's what I say. Those are the things that's like, gosh, I never thought about having that on my list. And it very well, listen, if you have a good connection like that, it could be really good. Last year, I actually put my business card into a bowl at a place called Be Fit Cafe over on Sawmill Road, which is not my area of town. I'm in Gahanna. I could actually walk to the office if I had to. But I put my business card in a fishbowl there, and it's a lead gen, right? So she goes, the chiropractor that put the fishbowl there gets the fishbowl from Be Fit Cafe, pulls these out, makes contact with all the people, and tries to get a luncheon set up for business people. And so that's what she did. She called me and she said, hey, I've got a seminar that I would love to put on for your people in your office about dealing with stress. And I thought, Girl, we don't have stress in our lives. I was kidding. She knew it was a shoe-in. She came, Andrea, you got a lot of you guys, I'm sure you know who Andrea is. She and I promoted it and did a flyer and invited all the agents. You know, I think we're close to 300 agents in the office. We promoted it to that. This was just prior to COVID. They came out, educated us. I didn't even know at that point that they were a chiropractor office. Look, I've been in treatment with them since. It's completely changed my life. And I'm showing them $500,000 homes, right? I wrote an offer the day after Christmas. We didn't get it, but we're in backup offer and things are looking, they're looking kind of good. So we may get it, but that was something that wasn't on my radar, but it was an opportunity that I did. They reached out to me. And so it's building my business. Now I know all the doctors in that practice. I know all of the people that service us every week. They know me by name when I walk in there. I gave them all a candle for Christmas. You know, that was a way that I built my business, and now they're in my database, right? So you're always looking for opportunities to do that. So in this flow chart thing, you're telling them that, you know, I'm going to find out what you're looking for. We're going to eventually set up times to go out and look. I want to tell you guys, it's very important. And this is one of the reasons why you bring them into the office, is you want to show them the working of the MLS. The MLS is alive and breathing. And I think that it is so great if you can show them firsthand what you mean. And so again, I say to you, in this being one of those first things of how you can make income, getting people into your office, educating them about the process, you need to know not only the workings of that real estate purchase contract, you also need to know the workings inside and out of the MLS and how it works and how you can look for properties, search for properties, do market analysis on properties, map properties, set up searches for your clients. These are all things that you can go on to the Columbus Board of Realtors through the MLS system. There are all kinds of videos that are available. I encourage you to take the time block in your calendar 30 minutes a day to watch a video about the MLS. Learn how to load people into the system, learn how to set up searches, learn how to do a map search. If you have a client that says, hey, I want to live in the Gahanna area and I want to go and look at homes that only are serviced by Middle School South, then you can go in and you can do a search to that, but you have to know how to use the mapping tool in MLS to do that. And you can watch a video on that. There also are classes, hands-on classes. So like Flex, I think that it's called Flex MLS, and there's different levels of that. So check those things out, though, and that needs to be something that you do sooner rather than later, because if you get somebody that says, okay, yeah, I'm ready to buy a house, well, what do you do next, right? How do you find the houses to look at? So it's a process. One of my most favorite exercises to do with people when you bring them into the office is I pull the MLS up. And of course, remember, we've already had the talk, so I know about where they want to be, the amenities that they're looking for, the price point. Hopefully we've talked about that. And again, remember, you're trying to get them to have that already set before they come meet you. It's not, they don't have to, but it just makes your time a whole lot more easier and moving through with them. Whereas if you get somebody that comes in and says, yeah, we'd like to have a 5-bedroom home and this and that, and they're telling you that they want to spend $200,000. Well, realistically, is that something that's going to happen? It's just nice that they've already met with the lender to know what their buying power is based on what their credit scores are and what their income level is, debt to income ratios, all those things. Again, you'll have a whole lot more knowledge of that if you've made a contact with the lender. Mark Janes is one. There's another great company in the office building that we're at 1 Easton Oval. It's NFM Lending. Go out, meet these people, call these lenders. Listen, January is the best time to call them and say, hey, look, I'm a newly licensed agent. I'm at Keller Williams Greater Columbus. I'd love to meet with you. I'd love to potentially do business with you. I want to learn about your business. What can you share with me about being a new agent? They're going to be like, When can we meet? Right. And that's what you want, that you want to be building that rapport because they're looking to grow their business too. So use that. So it's helpful when they know what their buying power is coming in for this exercise. So you're sitting down and remember, you've got it pulled up on the big screen. So they're seeing this, you're typing this information in. And what is most mind-blowing, I think, to a buyer today, and in fact, I've not even done this today to know, I told you guys I had surgery, so I've not been on this daily. But when you're logging into the MLS, you want to find out how many homes are on the market, because this is a great way to educate them about that, right? Because people just think that are coming into the market, maybe they've heard that the market is a little crazy, but do you think that they have any idea that, in a normal market, where we have balanced buyers and sellers, and let me tell you guys, we really haven't experienced that kind of a market for the last 6-7 years. It hasn't been balanced. It's either been one side or the other. We are in a very much seller's market right now. And in fact, sometimes we would even say a hyper seller's market where you have no inventory. You have very little inventory. Mick Gordon does a class on numbers and looking at those. Take that class because he's so good at that. That was, again, something, being in the business as long as I had, and he did that class. I thought, oh my gosh, this is just so great. He'll share with you how to look at how many months of inventory we have just based on a report that he looks at through the MLS. So make sure that you do that. He advertises that on, you'll see like a Market Watch or something. I can't remember what he calls it, but check into that. I'll put a note here and see if I can find that too. But anyway, in a normal balanced market, we would have anywhere from 10, 13, 15,000 homes on the market that could handle the supply and the demand of buyers and sellers. Well, for the last several years, 5, 6, 7 years, we've had literally such a shortage of inventory that right now what you have in the market is we've struggled to be out and over 2,500 in our MLS. And understand that the Columbus board in the state of Ohio, you're going to have different boards. As an agent at Keller Williams Greater Columbus, you are a member of the Columbus Board of Realtors. But there also is a Cincinnati board. There is a Cleveland board. There's probably Toledo. I mean, there's boards all over, right? However, what I will tell you is in those 2,500 homes that are available for sale, there are some that you'll see because you can see the map of it. There are some homes that are in the Cleveland area that are found in our MLS. It may be because it's a lake home and maybe they feel like that buyer could possibly come from Columbus and they would then buy it as a vacation home or something like that. So there are reasons why you'll have listings out of the Columbus board area, which is Franklin County and the 9 contiguous counties around that. That really is the Columbus board. Once you start getting out from there, and we have 88 counties in Ohio, once you start getting out from there, there's a reason, there's a connection as to why would you have a home that's in Cincinnati, because most times you're not going to have a buyer that you're going to meet with in your Columbus office that's going to say, I want to buy a home in Dayton. I want to buy a home in Cincinnati. In fact, unless you're very well versed in that, because you can actually sell homes, your territory is the state of Ohio, but you are not very likely going to drive to Cincinnati to show homes and to write a contract for your buyer, because they're going to have a different purchase contract that can be different. It may be that in that community, a seller does not pay for title insurance like it does here in our Columbus market. So there's changes. So that would be an opportunity that you would send a referral to an agent in the Cincinnati market, or a referral to an agent in Findlay in the Toledo market, or something like that, right? Again, more conversations for you guys to have with your mentor and helping you with that. That's kind of an advanced thing as far as if you get somebody that you're meeting with and they're like, yeah, I want to buy a house in Cincinnati. Well, they're probably not going to be meeting with you in Columbus to do that, right? But it's great that you educate them, because what they're thinking is they want to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in the Columbus area. They're really open. They don't really care where it is, but they work downtown. They don't want, too big of a commute. You can drop a pin and pull that out on that map. And it's just a ton of areas. Now, there's some areas that they wouldn't live in, right? Because safety is concern of theirs. Or maybe it's schools, or again, a big limitation can be your price point. So once you put those parameters in, what is the best exercise to do with a home buyer right now is to show them, of those 22, 23, 2,500 homes that are on the market, really with what they're looking for in a suburb under 300,000 with 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, there are 15 homes that they can go look at. And they're like, 15, that's all? Well, yeah, but that's also, do you want to live in Grove City, or do you want to be in Powell, or do you want to be, then that changes it drastically too. Listen, there's sometimes that I've gone in and done a home search for people, and there's 2 homes on the market when we're sitting there looking, and we go in and look, or a lot of times they'll say to me, oh yeah, we've already seen that. Yeah, we've driven by it. We do not like that area. And so then it's one. And then by the time you go in to look, or you've talked about it, you've gone in, looked at pictures, because again, you're educating them about how this system works, right? What's so great in this exercise is if you go in later in that and you go back and, oh my gosh, it's in contract now. That's happened many times. Or when we first log in, you've got, 2,437 homes, and you take this 15 minutes to talk about the MLS and how it's alive and breathing and working and always changing. You go back in and now you have 2,429 homes, because that many homes have changed status, gone into contract, gone back on the market. Sometimes it goes higher. So it's just great, because that's not something that they usually have, that inside working knowledge of how that is. And then it also kind of bleeds out to how are they finding homes? Because listen, we've got very savvy buyers today. And when I told you guys the story about having the phone books, the MLS books that showed up at the front desk of the office, you had to go into the office every Friday to get your book, because you had to order it and pay for it in order to have it. If you didn't have a book like that, guess what? You didn't have a resource for your buyers that you were working with. And usually you brought them into the office, and they literally would sit there, and that you had, I want to say like 9, 12 homes to a page. And literally they would have a highlighter, and they would highlight a home that they wanted to see. If you were an agent that lived on the edge, you would say to them, you can take this home with you, but do not tell anybody that you've been given this MLS book. I know we've all done that. Oh my gosh, when the internet came to our business, it like flipped it on its head. And the consumer can have as much information, if not more, than what we have, right? It's just that our information can be more reliable. If you have people using Zillow, and even sometimes realtor.com, the information is great. It's very, very user friendly, but the information is just not always reliable. And so you have to educate them on that. Listen, you guys have an awesome tool at your hands by the Keller Williams app that we have. That is a wonderful way for you to be sharing information with buyers. So be using that to your advantage, right? Use that to your advantage. It's a great, easy segue into having an organic conversation with people that are buying homes. Okay, for them to be able to use that. Let's see, we're at 11:30. You guys need like a quick potty break or anything? You guys good? Want me to keep going? Looks like we lost Emilio. He must have gotten his nugget and he's out of here, right?
I'm good.
All right, well, let's keep moving along then, because we've only got a little bit more time and I want to get through this stuff. So once you then have determined their amenities and what they're looking for, you set them up on a search. And there's many times that I go ahead and set them up when I'm sitting right there. And there's sometimes that I don't. There's sometimes that I say to them, I'll be setting you up on a search in the next couple days. This gives them the opportunity to make the contact with the lender, to start building that rapport. And I say to them, call and have a conversation with a lender, or 2 or 3. Sometimes people will come to that meeting already having contact with a lender. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's not a good thing. In this market where there's such a shortage of inventory and you're in competition with many, many other offers, 10, 17, I think the most that we've had on a listing, I want to say, is like 22 or 23 offers on one home, right? One home. So for that one home, we had 23 people raising their hand saying, I want to buy it. I want to buy it. And that's not to say that there weren't, 65 showings on that home. And you had 23 of them say, okay, I'm sending you an offer. When that is the case, there are things that you need to educate your buyer on, that having a well-known, reputable local lender is a big deal, as opposed to working with somebody from HomeDepot.com or RocketMortgage.com or whatever. Now, again, listen, I've also worked with some of those lenders like that are phenomenal, but sometimes it is that well-known, reputable local lender that can get the job done and has a different perspective and a different take. Because I'll tell you, there's some lenders that just absolutely get a bad rap from specific lenders. I don't like to do business with Chase because they've screwed a lot of deals up. And so if I've got multiple offers that I'm looking at and I've got one buyer and it's essentially the same offer, what's different about it is the lenders that they're using. And I've got somebody that's using Chase and I've got somebody that's using Rapid Mortgage or NFM or American Eagle Mortgage or State Bank and Trust or something. I'm going to pick the one that's not using Chase over something else because of the experience that we've had. So, and again, you guys will come to learn that as you work through the business. And again, on our call this morning, on our meeting, we had a conversation about that it was a Chase lender and we were in competition. Another team member had written an offer and they were in competition with other offers. One of the things that we like to do as a team, and I do absolutely individually, is I like to have the lender call the listing agent when I'm representing a buyer and introduce themselves. Tell them what a great buyer, strong buyer they are. Now, there's certain things that they cannot disclose unless, obviously you have to have the okay from your buyer, but you need to explain to your buyer how this can be a benefit to them. And so by them making that phone call, sometimes, when they're sitting and they're looking at all these offers, the listing agent can say, on this particular buyer, their lender called and introduced themselves to me and said, what a great buyer they are. They've got very strong credit scores. They've been in their job for 15 years. They've got great down payment, yada, yada, yada. They're building the case for the client. And again, sometimes that is what sets them apart from the next offer. And let me tell you, sometimes that's what it is. That's what it is. And you have to educate them. See, have you heard all these little tiny things that you're sharing with them that they're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, how can we do this without her? We can't. We need to work with her. So then you're going to go to the point where you're going to be, showing them properties. You're going to be writing an offer. And these are all different classes, right? The idea here is you're just educating them about what's to come. Negotiating terms, accepting the contract. Then comes the removing of contingencies. Contingencies can be things like financing is a contingency. Home inspections are a contingency. Maybe they need to, I don't know, have some other work done to the home. That can be a contingency. But all of these things, one of the things that I like to say to them, an analogy to use, is that real estate is kind of like when you look out onto the pond and it's all nice and smooth and you see like a gathering of ducks in an area of the pond and they can keep themselves over in that area because maybe the other half of the pond is iced over. Do you have any idea what it takes for a duck to stay in place on a pond, even if it is smooth? Underneath the water, they're doing this the whole time, right? To stay in that area. That's what we're doing as real estate agents in a transaction. Same thing. There's all of these things that go into place. There's the title company now is involved. Once you have an accepted offer, you've got the title company that's looking at things. You've got the lender that's pulling credit, doing income verifications, looking at credit scores. All these things are going on at the same time. For them, it will feel like there's nothing going on. In fact, there's kind of this 3 weeks of silence that is just, sometimes people just can't stand that silence, but that is the time that you're educating them, right? You're educating them about what's going on. So they're like, oh yeah, I remember her telling us that this is the time where it seems like nothing's going on, but it's the duck underneath keeping everything afloat. So they're doing the title searches, they're removing encumbrances and liens on the property, obtaining the title insurance, anything like that. They're going to be collecting their funds for closing. They're going to be getting their final numbers. There's all kinds of TRID laws, again, a whole separate class, closing the property, and then they eventually get to move in. And I always tell people, look, I'm going to tell you right now, moving in and packing your stuff and moving it from one place to the next is the hardest part that you're going to deal with. And I think people appreciate the humor in that, right? So again, you want to be real, you want to be authentic with them. And again, it's your goal to educate them about these things. Ask questions, listen to what they're telling you, right? So we've got about 20 minutes left. I want to share with you guys one of the most important things. Once you've been through this process with them, it's decision time. You need to know, are they committed to working with you? This is where you have the opportunity to talk to them about an exclusive right to represent them. Now, in the Keller Williams documents, there is it's a 3-page, again, another reason why to get your booklet from Pamela, because all this stuff is in here, right? It's all in here. But the thing about this particular document, and I'm just going to flip it up here and show you guys, and you don't need to look at it, but here's page 1. So you see all this writing, page 1, page 2, and here's page 3. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's stuck together. Hold on. Page 3. And then down here's where they're going to sign. And this is stating all you want them to do is to commit to working with you, right? Well, let me tell you, if you present it just like this, what you have, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to be able to sell this to them. You have to be able to explain this forward, backwards, upside down, diagonal, reverse. You got to be able to sell it to them. Most people, my experience has been, most people will look at this and say, I'm not ready to sign this. And that's not the goal. The goal of this appointment is you want to get a loyalty agreement signed so that you know that you're working for them, and they know, more importantly, that you're working for them and they're working for you. Same thing. It's reciprocal. You scratch my back, I'm going to scratch yours. You have to educate them about these things. But through this document, and it's very thorough. I'm not discounting that, but it identifies who everybody is. The obligation that the broker has, which is us, the obligation that the client has to the broker, the compensation of the broker. Again, remember, you're getting people that are coming in that want to buy homes. They don't think about you getting paid necessarily. In fact, they come in misguided, thinking that they have to pay you. And that's not the case. When you are representing a buyer, your paycheck is compensated through the seller. And it's important that you tell them that. I mean, I guess ultimately, look, we can argue either side here, right? I can argue aside from a seller saying the seller pays that expense. The buyer, they put it together. It's like, well, ultimately they're paying it through the purchasing of the home because it's part of the expenses for the seller, right? I mean, we can dicker back and forth, pros and cons for both sides. But a buyer needs to know, to have that representation, that fee is paid by the seller. Okay. There's a protection period. So there's a timing in this contract. You're talking agency disclosure with them. You're talking inspection and test, professional advice and representation, fair housing statements, additional terms or exclusions, the agreement, their acknowledgement. Here's what I want to tell you, and this is why you go over the real estate purchase contract, because many of those things are in the real estate purchase contract. You don't need to actually list it in your exclusive right to represent that buyer. That can seem very overwhelming to them, and they start looking at it and like, oh my gosh, it says that here with inspections, the client acknowledges that for any property that the client seeks to purchase or lease, the broker strongly recommends that a professional and competent company. I mean, they start reading stuff like that, they're going to want to look this stuff over, right? And I would expect that. Now, here's what I'll tell you, you have the ability to do, but you're going to do this with the approval of your brokerage, which is going to be your Andrea Dela. You can run things like this by them, not by your mentors. But you want to get the approval. One of the things, again, all these things that I've talked to you about, this is what we've done. We've put a book together for our team. And all of my presentation and my spiel is all kind of as I go through this book. This is what my buyer walks out the door with. So it's a presentation that I've put together. And listen, I told you that I like to bind everything. Ours are bound. It doesn't have to be that way. You can have loose leaf paper in a folder. You can have a presentation stapled. You can have it however you put it together. As long as you get the information to them, you do that. One of the things that we have done, again, educating, right? We're educating. We talk to them about why they need a realtor. I don't talk about that in my meeting with them, but this is what they leave with. You know, sometimes people read it, sometimes they don't. I really don't care. But it's giving the impression we know what we're doing. We've done this before. And listen, even though you guys haven't done this before, they don't have to know that. If they're asking you the question, well, how long have you been selling real estate? Here's your answer. Write this down. You wouldn't believe it if I told you. That's how you answer it, right? They don't have to know, well, I've never closed a deal before. I haven't done this yet. They don't have to know that. If you know your stuff and you're presenting it like this, I guarantee you they're not going to ask you, how long have you been selling real estate? If they do, that's your answer. But this gives an opportunity for you to share why they need an agent. We even as a team have a motto. We have a mission statement. Get a mission statement together. Google or YouTube mission statements. Help me put a mission statement together. And then we actually introduce everybody on the team, and there's a picture and their contact information and all of that. Again, this is where when you're building your team, you put your Pamela at the front desk. Get a picture of her, put her on there. Do Dela, Andrea, do your title people, put them on here. You know, we just happen to have team members that we put on for our Meet Our Team. And then look here, here's our buyer loyalty agreement. And I know that this is really small, but it's one page. And so what it's doing is it's telling them, it identifies everybody in our case on a team. And it says, if for any reason they're not satisfied, they can terminate the agreement. And it says that here too, but I don't know what paragraph it's in, right? And then it just simply says, in representing the buyer, the broker and sales agent will ... I'm going to use diligence in locating a property. I'm going to provide the buyer with financial information about properties, meaning the original purchase price, the likelihood of a resale, things like that. I'm going to act in the buyer's best interest in purchasing the property. And I'm going to keep confidential all information regarding the client or any other client, sales agent, blah, 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 blah. Again, they start looking at stuff like this. They're like, my gosh, I never even thought about that. I didn't even know we had to think about this. You're giving it to them. You're telling them, here's what I'm doing for you. And oh, by the way, here's what you're going to do as the buyer. You're going to work exclusively with me because I don't get paid. I don't get compensated until you receive the keys for your home. And I've done all this work up front. Again, there's an easy way to do that, right? And there's a not good way to do it. This is through you're educating them, and you're telling them even that this includes working in new construction or for sale by owners. If you have a buyer that you're working with and they drive by a for sale by owner sign, what we call a FSBO in the business, and there's not a whole lot of them out right now, but when the market flips, there's just too much for a seller to have to do. They have no idea. But if your buyer takes a picture of that sign and calls that seller and says, hey, I want to look at your home, I want to see it. Well, if they've not mentioned that they're working for you, it's a lot harder for you to go in and to get your paycheck from that seller that's trying to sell their home themselves, as opposed to you training your buyer right now from day one. Look, if you come across any of that, take a picture of that sign and send it to me. Let me make that call on your behalf. Let me ask the questions. You're just going to disclose any exclusive agency relationship with any other real estate agent. Remember, in the very beginning of this class, I said to you, if you've got somebody that's made an agreement with another agent, has signed an agreement, they are hands off. You are not to go any further with them. This is especially true. I mean, this should be a question that you're asking them very early in a conversation. And if you find out that they have a signed agreement, we call it a loyalty agreement. Doesn't it sound better than an exclusive right to represent a buyer or tenant, right? A loyalty agreement. Somebody's like, oh yeah, I know what a loyalty agreement is. It means I'm going to be loyal to you. You're going to be loyal to me. I'm going to scratch your back. You're going to scratch mine. That's what it is. Again, you have to tell them, you have to give them some arsenal when they leave. This is one of the cards, and this is something that I had made up on Vistaprint. It says, hello, I'm being represented by my name, number, and my email, right? This is something that I give them at this meeting with this book and a few other things. So I've armed them. I've given them these things. So when they're out, they're like, yeah, here's my agent. Right? There's no mistaking that. You have to tell them, though, to do that. If you don't tell them, I guarantee you, when somebody says, are you working with an agent? They're like, well, no, not really. But if you have them sign this agreement and you've given them cards, guess what? They know they're working with you. And that's what you want to do. Let's see what else is on here. If unaccompanied by you at an open house, anything, again, you're reiterating, right? You're reiterating. They have to tell whoever they come in contact with, a new construction, a sales agent in a new build, walking into an open house, calling for sale buyers. The first thing they need to do is say, I have an agent, and her name is Tammy Hoffer. Her name is Lakeisha Cunningham. Her name is Jill Camp. You have to put that into them all the time. And then, we put fair housing in here too, because that's important and it makes it look official. And then there's a beginning date and an end date, and you sign it. That's it. As opposed to all of this. And again, if you've gone through the real estate purchase contract, all that other stuff you've gone through with them. Okay. So not needed for that to be in that actual agreement. How am I doing on time? Oh dear, we're coming down to time quickly. There's a section in here about financing. Again, guys, you guys can Google things about what's important about financing. So this is another reason why you get stuff from the lenders that you want to work with, because a lot of times they'll have information, brochures and things that you can take the information right out of their documents and create a document yourself. So we're just educating them about why it's important that you secure financing first, the do's and don'ts. Keep in mind, don't quit your job while you're looking for a house. I mean, would you think that you'd have to tell somebody that? Guess what? You do. You have to tell them. And then we give a list of lenders. Contact a lender. You want to have more than one. You can get in trouble if you're just sending everybody to one lender. I say you need to have a minimum of 3. We actually have 6 on our list. And again, this is something that we have workings with all of these lenders, and you have a relationship. We also have this, need a real estate attorney. You list some real estate attorneys. We actually put our flow chart in this little booklet, the home buying process. Let them see that. And then it educates them about writing an offer, things to consider. Again, whole nother class, right? Writing contracts. Another thing that's been very, very hugely successful for us is that we've created, and again, this comes from a lot of us being in the business as long as we have, coming up with, it's just simply a document that is 10 ways to win in a challenging market for buyers. And so it goes through 1 through 10, and it tells them about improving your financing, selecting your lender carefully. Are you good for the money? Do you have any extra that you can put down to bridge the gap, to pay for moving van for a seller? To do what can you do to set yourself apart? Are you creative? Are you handy? Are you a DIYer? Can you take care of some of the improvements that need to be done to the property? Understanding the appraisal and how that works. How far can your cash go? How flexible are you in taking possession? Are you willing to be a backup offer? I think I told you guys the story about the chiropractor that I'm working with right now. We're sitting in a backup position. We should know Wednesday as to whether or not we could be put into primary position. Opportunity for them to take notes. You're also educating them about home inspections, which there's huge. We've got, again, a list of all kinds of home inspectors, from whole house to radon to chimney, pest, well and septic, roof inspections. Again, you're inundating them with information so that their heads are spinning by the time this meeting is over, and they're like, we cannot do this by ourselves. We need their professional assistance in doing that, right? Communication is the key. Get into the habit that every time you talk with a client, you're always telling them, here's what's going to happen next. Here's the telephone call you're going to receive. Here's the telephone call that you're going to make. Here's what you need to do next. We always put it in written form also. So we have a, once you're in contract, if you're a buyer, if you're a seller, here's what you need to do. And oh, by the way, here's the inspectors again. And then there's utility information. So when they get to that point of needing to change over utilities, that's there. Closing timeline. And then guess what? You're moving. So it's a very quick 60, 90 hour and 20 minutes that you're spending with them. The goal is to build their confidence that they have in you as an agent. And I don't care if you've been selling houses for 30 days or you've been selling it for 25 years. You have the ability to educate yourself on these things and to present it to them so that they have the confidence of working with you. Right? So, in a nutshell, right? We've got about 5 minutes left. What kind of questions do you girls have? How can I help you further? I cannot give you a copy of my book. That's always a question that people say. But I can guide you. And it's like I said, if you've made a list, and I'll be happy to talk through. Listen, Lakeisha, Karen is very good at this too. Talk to her about that. She'll work with you on those. It does not, guys, this is over 125 years of experience right here with all of us agents together that have come up with this. You can come up with this. It doesn't have to be bound, or it can be. I'm telling you, it costs nothing to think. They even have a binder in the office. You can do it in the office. You don't have to take it someplace. I just take it because I don't like to do stuff like that. So what questions can I answer? Are your heads spinning?
No, I mean, it's been a lot. Well, yeah, you're right. It's been a lot of information, a lot of helpful information for sure. Things that I wouldn't have thought about, that, especially the booklet and having everything there. So when you are in front of your potential client, you have that to offer. That's great to know, because I wouldn't have thought of that. Not that way. I would have just thought of, the specific papers that have to be given.
Yeah. And all of that will come later when you're actually getting ready. And again, remember, and this has changed too. We used to ride in a car together. And this was, again, opportunity for you to continue with that education. And you're talking to them about things, right? We don't have that anymore. I mean, my gosh, I can remember when I used to show, I used to say to people, look, we really don't want to show homes, more than 5 or 6 homes, because you're going to forget about them. There aren't 5 or 6 homes that you can show one buyer these days, most times, right? So most times you're meeting them at one property and you're showing it to them. So that idea of education is not there like it used to be when we would ride together from one home to the next. And you could talk about home inspections at one time. You could talk about earnest money. You could talk, it just gave a lot more opportunity for that. So now what you have to do, put it in written form, give it to them, come up with your buyer presentation. Guys, I also have a presentation that I can go through, and I do that more when I'm on with them, when I'm doing a Zoom with them. It's a slide presentation that I go through. So work on that. Go to command, do your buyer presentation. It's dropping stuff in about yourself. Create that, use that. Yeah. Got like 1 minute, and sometimes these things cut us off and we're done, poop, have no more time. But Lakeisha, any information, any questions you have? I know that sometimes when people are doing jobs, they are logging in, and I get it. I get it. One of the beautiful things is they record this stuff so we can go back and we can listen. So use that to your advantage. Are you there, girl?
Now, where can we, if we wanted to go back and listen to this again, where would we find that at?
You know what? Let me check with Andrea on that, because I don't know if they put it, I don't know if they do it on YouTube or if I don't know. I will find out for you, Tammy, and let you know, because
Okay.
I know
Just
that
if
there's a lot
ever
of
I need to come back and.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, they have time to do that so that they go back. No, we can't hear you. Try again. She's typing. Can you hear me? No, we cannot.
Now?
Now, yes, now we can.
Okay. I've been trying to get that doggone question out.
Yeah.
There was a recent situation that I had where there was a FSBO, and then I was in a presentation to be the seller of the house. And the seller said that they had signed an agreement with the buyer's agent so that the buyer's agent could get paid. Now, as a buyer representative, do we generally have the seller sign paperwork so that we can get our commission?
If it's a for sale by owner, yes. If it's a for sale by owner and you can get that, I've got one of these that I'm doing tomorrow that their home is not listed, but we're going to be showing them. We want to have a listing agreement, even if it's for a week. Yes, that's what you want to do, because that is your agreement to receive that payment. That's correct.
Okay.
Karen will be able to help you further on that too. But yes, anything that you can do to get that secured and get that in writing. And in fact, when you're writing a for sale by owner, I actually even write it into the actual purchase contract that it is understood by all parties that the realtor, Lakeisha Cunningham, is going to be compensated by the seller at closing for 3% or whatever that agreed amount is at closing. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm so excited to meet you guys, and I can't wait to see the success that you're going to have in your business. All of us mentors work together. We meet on a regular basis also. So if you have something that came up in a class, say, hey, Jill was talking about this, ask them, if they don't know, they'll reach out and we can have a conversation about it and get back to you guys. So yeah, but do your homework is get to know that real estate purchase contract inside and out, upside down, diagonal, frontward, backwards. Do that. Okay.
Thank you so very much.
Yes. Yes. All right. I'll talk to you guys. I'll see you, girl, hopefully around the office soon when we get back to whatever new normal is, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great day, you guys.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.